Hey guys, Akiba here from CryptoSlate. I'm here with Lukas from Gnosis Safe. How you doing, Lukas?
Good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm warm, very warm. I'm from Manchester. This heat wave is not doing me good. So just want to introduce yourself and Gnosis Safe.
Sure. Yeah. I'm Lukas. I'm with Gnosis Safe. What we're doing at Gnosis Safe is really solving custody. So in Web3, you want to kind of have control over your digital assets. You want to not be dependent on any third party, any bank. You want to kind of keep control with yourself. But how usually people do that is they have like a MetaMask account. They write down their seed phrases. Worst case, they put it in a drawer, or even worse, in like their notes app in the phone. And that's really why we have so many people getting hacked, getting phished, suffering from like this single point of failure issue. And what Safe is doing is that it allows you to have much more secure setups where you not depend on just this one single seed phrase that's controlling all your assets, but you can kind of decentralize your security there. You have like multiple hardware devices, software wallets that kind of control your account, and this way you can just make much more secure asset storage.
So what does Gnosis mean to you personally?
How do you mean?
Like what the company stands for? Why is it important to you? Why does the world need this for you personally? Rather than, the reason why I always ask this question is to get away from the kind of the stock elevator pitch answer. What's it to you?
I mean, for me, it feels like we're working here on like very essential technology for the future, kind of giving back ownership to the user over their data, over their assets, making them less reliant on like platforms which use like lock-in to kind of extract as much value as possible from their users. But the way we do it right now is in a very kind of Wild West way, where like it's super complicated, inaccessible, and insecure to do it right now, to kind of take control over your data and assets. So I just want to build something that's more accessible to user, because it's always like that. If you have technology at the beginning, it's like super hard to use, super expensive, just complicated. It's like for a very small group of people that can really leverage the technology. And only when you make technology more accessible, more easy to use, it's when actually it unfolds its full potential. And I think we're right now in a period with like crypto and Web3 where we need something that's kind of building this kind of safety environment for people to feel comfortable actually using it.
Well, that goes into my sort of next question, in that is Web3 kind of ready for the mass adoption of Web2 companies? Like, because there's two angles. There's the individual users, and then there's sort of like corporate adoption. Do you think we're ready for mass adoption yet, in terms of the infrastructure and things like what you're solving for?
Well, ready is... like there's not going to be like one point where it's ready. We're definitely going into the right direction. We've been doing quite some advancements over the last years in terms of use case, in terms of infrastructure, and like kind of the tooling behind Web3. But it still takes years to really go to what you could call kind of mass adoption. But it really depends on how you define it.
So are you seeing a lot of interest, though, from Web2 looking to adapt into Web3? Because obviously your solutions with kind of like multi-sig wallets, like surely that's got to be a big requirement for sort of companies with like huge compliance teams and things like this. They can't rely on just one seed phrase for like a NASDAQ company. Yeah,
definitely. And we see, I mean, pretty much every kind of bigger company that's not sleeping right now realizes that especially NFTs is something that's kind of like, it represents internet culture. And even if it's just the marketing teams right now kind of exploring how they can leverage that to kind of activate new communities, like they're all going to be exposed to these things, NFTs especially. And we see Shopify using it for kind of token-gated storefronts. We see Anheuser-Busch, they bought the beer.eth ENS domain and kind of use this as a marketing activation. And they suddenly have some digital assets to kind of manage. So they're looking for ways to do that in a secure way, and kind of giving one person the responsibility to kind of safeguard like a seed phrase is not going to be the way. So multi-sig is one solution to that, so that at least you can kind of make a more enterprise-ready setup.
And is that what you're looking to do? Because you could create a multi-sig wallet without Gnosis Safe, couldn't you? So what are you adding to the fold with what your solution is?
I mean, we're kind of much more lower level. Actually, we're building kind of the smart contract protocol and kind of the infrastructure for others to build solutions on top because what we think is like multi-sig or more general smart contract accounts have many advantages for many different user groups and use cases. It's not just enterprise, it's retail, it's financial institutions, and so on. And there's not going to be, we don't want to be the project that's building all of these ourselves. Rather, we want to focus on building the tooling for other projects to then start building like something specifically for B2B companies or something for financial institutions. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about the storage and management of the private keys? Because you've got a multi-sig wallet. There's still that side. Do you think, is that still a problem for bringing people into the space, knowing that even if you've got a multi-sig wallet, you've still got this phrase that you need to store somewhere?
Yeah, sure. Even though it's a bit less because you can kind of rotate keys. Mm-hmm. When you just have a MetaMask account, you never know at any point, is this key compromised? Mm-hmm. You always have this kind of lingering fear, like it's already out there and someone's just waiting for the right moment. Mm-hmm. With multi-sig, at least you can kind of swap keys, do a new one. At this point, if you're paying attention to how you store it, you're completely sure that it's secure at this point, and then just need to kind of get into the mode of like regularly update your keys again.
So is that something you'd recommend to sort of average users to kind of create a wallet that you can rotate keys out and just do it regularly, like you'd change a password?
Yeah, it's kind of like digital hygiene. Mm-hmm. Like once a year, you should kind of just make sure that everything, like you have your one password set up, your keys are secure, and like stuff like that for sure. But I also think on the kind of key storage level, there's still much more to be done. Like MPC-based solutions are quite interesting, where kind of you go away from storing a seed phrase, but have kind of some more secure setup to generate and store keys.
Mm-hmm. So, how important is sort of the user experience, do you think, to digital asset storage? And do you think that building with Gnosis can help solve the user experience at all?
I mean, user experience, like there's a couple of like bigger UX challenges right now. The first one is like you have no idea what you're actually signing. Like transactions are still like a black box. You kind of get some kind of data. If you're not a developer, you just press a button and like hope that things go well. What we're doing is we offer a way in one of our kind of solutions that we build is a way to simulate transactions. So you can simulate the transaction and you know exactly what's kind of the outcome gonna be, and then you can ensure that this is what you expect, and then you can actually send the transaction. That's one thing. Another UX issue right now is about gas. So no one wants to care about like what's the gas price right now, like what's the gas limit I need to set so that the transaction doesn't run out of gas. And also this could be abstracted away quite nicely with Gnosis Safe, because it allows for something that's called like transaction relaying. So a third party actually does kind of this like setting of the gas price and like this, and you kind of have just a relationship with this third party. Could be like a subscription-based relationship or something where you just retroactively pay back what you kind of owe them. But this way you can kind of you don't need to care about anymore what's right now the gas price.
So you have kind of like a gas allowance account that just deals with all of that.
Something like that. And we're really just exploring kind of how the solutions will look like. But this is something which is kind of uniquely for Gnosis Safe, which is not possible with a MetaMask account as it stands.
Yeah, I mean, I saw something recently on Twitter where something like the set approval for all notification, how like that's one of the things that a lot of scammers use to drain someone's wallet, and that if that is something you're signing, it should have like a big red warning flag on it saying you probably don't want to do this. Is that the sort of thing that you're sort of talking about, is adding sort of extra information in the user experience so people know what they're signing?
Yeah, so it's not, one thing is the simulation, but the other one is also just kind of making things as readable as possible. And what you're saying with like approvals, this is something which everyone should do, is use a tool like, I think there's like one's called token allowance tracker or something, where you can just see where did they actually give approvals in the past, because many would be surprised they gave like approvals to different DeFi protocols, and like if any one of them could be compromised, the hacker could just drain their entire wallet, worst case. So this is also just something with like kind of self-custody hygiene, where you should just check yourself where did you give approvals in the past.
Yeah, you're making me want to go and do that right now, actually. So what are you hoping to learn at events like this throughout the bear market? And do you feel a sense of relief that we're in a bear market so you can build?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're in that camp?
I mean, it was very busy in the last 12 to 18 months. It was really hard to keep up with everything that was going. And it's really hard to kind of distinguish kind of the noise from the signal in these times. And like obviously everything is kind of much more exaggerated, and we're probably coming back to really working on the fundamentals and seeing what's really important. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've met one sort of builder in Web3 that is unhappy that there's a bear market overall. It feels like obviously prices are down, so everyone's portfolios are down, but like just that sense of relief seems to be worth more than the euphoria.
Yeah, if your project is sufficiently funded, I guess it's like obviously the VC market also is going through a cool down right now, so projects need to also make sure that they can survive over a couple of years.
No, I completely agree. So what's next? You talked about a few sort of features there, but if people wanted sort of one thing to look out for, what would you say is going to be the next big thing?
Yeah, so what I explained before, what we really want to build is kind of like an ecosystem that's kind of using kind of the fundamental technology, which is kind of the Gnosis Safe and Gnosis Safe protocol, and kind of extending it with their own ideas, their own UX, their own use cases. So we're kind of refocusing from kind of building a kind of vertically integrated product ourselves, kind of supporting other teams to build upon. So I'm really looking forward to teams that really want to, let's say like, oh, there's this one use case which is currently uncovered, whether it's like NFT management or whatever, and I want to build like a Gnosis Safe based solution on top of that. I'm kind of looking forward to kind of supporting those. Also, one thing that we are about to do is that we have our own token at some point this year, which is just because we're building like a very crucial infrastructure to Web3, like many DAOs relying on Gnosis Safe, like many big treasuries. Like we don't want to be like a centralized project which kind of governs and owns this ourselves. So we want to kind of distribute this ownership to more people.
So it'll be a governance token?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So people can buy in and become a part of it?
The buy-in part, I don't know. It's going to be distributed via an airdrop to users and builders.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, right now there's no plans for anything that's...
So it's just going to be airdropped to everyone in the community so that it then becomes... Oh, that's nice. I like that. So, I mean, one thing I did actually want to ask about is, because I know you have the Gnosis apps that you sort of mentioned on the website. Is there any additional security by going through that way? Do you sort of check, or is it just easy access to them?
I mean, there's an additional security layer because the apps can only propose transactions to our kind of the outer frame, kind of the browser, and then we take care of like displaying to the user like this is what the transaction is actually doing. So the user only needs to kind of trust one app, which is Gnosis Safe, and not each and every one of these apps individually, which could be compromised. So there's kind of like this security layer in between, and then we can do much more in the future where we kind of use this fact that we're kind of like having this intermediate kind of security layer, and we do additional checks, or we provide additional information there. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for chatting with us.
Yeah,
and we'll look out for all the new things that you're saying that come in the next. So when are we looking at the token? Is that this year you're thinking, or is it next year?
Yeah, it's planned for this year.
Yeah, brilliant. Look forward to it. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, good meeting you.
Cheers.
Thank you.